Well, went to Canada again today because work sucked. Since the economy is failing, nobody wants to spend money anymore, so I went and made my own damn money. And we were there for about 4 hours and 10 minutes, and I turned an $800 Canadian buy-in into an extra 11.25. So more than 100% doubling of what I bought in for. It's not exactly the goal, but it worked. And it effectively ended up being 15 units exactly. I was playing with $75 units, so if you do the math, it should come out to 11.25. 75 times 15. But anyway, yeah, I did pretty good. And I got out with it quicker than I did yesterday. Not yesterday, but what day was it? Tuesday? Tuesday. We made 800 and almost twice as long. So that was a little bit of a struggle that day. So I made we made about 5 more units than we made the other day in half the time. So combined, both those 2 days, I ended up making 15 exactly one day and 10.6 units another day. So I'm up almost fucking 26 units in 2 days. This is what I'm talking about. That unit could have been any fucking value. And if I was able to achieve that in 2 days, you multiply that and extrapolate over 15 occurrences of 2 days, or the equivalent of 1 month. Goodness. I mean, let's just say I made 25, even though it was slightly more than that. 30 days divided by 2 would be 15. So 15 occurrences of 2 days would have put me on pace for 375 units. 15 is the equivalent of how many pairs of days, right? 15 times 2 being 30. And then 25 would have been the number of units combined I made in 2 days. Now, am I going to make 25 units every 2 days? No. Probably not. Maybe I'll make more. Who the fuck knows? But I don't have to hold myself to that fire. You know, I made more than 15 units. I made closer to 16. But just to say I made 15 is 375 over 30 days on that pace. Not 15. I didn't make 15. I made 25 units. I made 25 units in 15 occurrences of 2 days would be 375. You know, if I made 25 units every 2 days over a 30-day month, 15 occurrences of 2 pairs of days, I'd have 375. So if I had 375, and let's just say those units remained worth 75 every time, Uncle Nostra would have 28,000 in a month. I think it's bullshit now. So I don't think anyone thought it was bullshit. I think I've been very straightforward with what I'm able to produce. What you can't do, though, is go in with not enough. I went in there with the mentality that I had what I brought in from the day before, where I didn't cash any of it out. And I went in there today with the whole of 2,400 Canadian, which gave me 3 bankrolls of 800. So that's exactly what I did. I bought in with the 800. I split that into $75 units, and as you can see, that's 10.5. And it just so happens That's how many I made the other day. It was 10.5 units. So I bought in with my take from the other day. But that also left me with 2 other bankrolls of 800. So not bad. Not bad to know you have three running bankrolls of 10 units. Now, I'd rather have 40, but I knew I had more American. I could have bought more Canadian units with effectively giving me 40 units or close to it. So I wasn't really stressing about buying more Canadian dollars and paying money to do it. So I left it like that. I'm going to get all kinds of weather notices because they're scared of lightning. Jesus. So basically, if, like I said, man, like 25 units in 2 days. So in a 30-day period of time, extrapolate that. 30 divided by 2 is 15 occurrences of 2 days. Times 2 would be 30 days. It would be 375 units if I never increased the unit and I didn't back off my structure. Now, there were a couple of times where I just didn't like the way it looked and I just bet a quarter or $50. I didn't, you know, that's something you have the nobility of doing is when you have a larger unit. You don't like the way it looks. You don't want to bet a full unit. I mean, $75 is still a lot of money. And if you just want to bet 25 or $50 just to test fire it, then you're not even sacrificing a full unit to see what's going on. And if it's wrong and you want to bet the second effort hand, you bet 25, let's say, and your regular unit's 75. Well, 2 $75 units would cost you 150. So if you had a 2-unit effort, let's say, a flat bet normally of 2 $75 units, and you're willing to sacrifice 25 in the first try, well, that still gives you 125 to take a swing the second time. And instead of flat betting the 75, then your second effort hand's more meaningful because now you're not just winning 75, you're winning a whole 100 because you're getting that whole 250 minus, you're getting a whole 125 minus the 25 that you lost the hand before. Now you subtract the 125 that you invested and you're left with 100. So for the 2-hand effort, not only were you making money, but you're making more than you would have if you had won the first time on the first $75 bet. I don't know if that's translating to you, but basically it's like I could either do 75 one time and then do 75 a second time and just get my money back, or I could bet something really small just to test it. If it looks funny, right, you just have a bad feeling, you don't really want to do it, but you want action, just bet the minimum. And if it works, great. Well, whatever, that'll help pay off the Super Sixes later, or your commission, or whatever you got where you are. It'll help mitigate that half pay or whatever it is later. So if I'm making that 125 on the second effort, it's still a combined 2-unit bet of 75, a flat bet normally, but now I'm just saying, okay, if I don't win the little stuff, I'm going to try hard with the big stuff, and if it loses, I'm still only losing 2 units. It's like going with the mentality that they're each going to be worth 75. So I didn't do that all the time, because nothing's worse than winning the little stuff and losing the big stuff, right? I win this, and then the next time I get a pay opportunity, whatever it is for me at the time, and then I bet this and I lose. Well, now I'm down 50 combined for the 2-hand effort, right? Because I had 25, but then I lost 75, so I lost 50. And it's like, I'd rather just keep this as much as possible on a flat bet, and then you just try to ride that storm out, with the units that you came to fuck with. And pretty much, the entire day I was on my first 10 units and I never had to rebuy, never had to, go up and down. Well, at one point, we were up $1,200, okay? $1,200 Canadian. So divide that by 75, we were up 16 units. So what ended up happening was we didn't leave, and we knew we were on a schedule. We wanted to try to get out of there by 4 o'clock. It didn't quite work out that way by the time all was said and done, but we started to have some pushback. We started to give some of that shit back. And it got to the point where I actually lost 10 plus units, and I lost my original bankroll to 750. I had to rebuy in, but I didn't take the money out of my take because I wanted to keep that real as to what we were actually at. And I wanted to just keep that separate, I wanted to keep that 1200 separate. And when I went to cash out, I would net the difference if I didn't quite get all my money back. Well, it turns out I bought in with another 800 and I basically doubled that up. I got it all back. And when we went to leave, I found out I was only up 1125. So there must have been a unit somewhere lost in transition that I didn't account for when I cashed out. So I actually ended up only making 1125. Oh, boo-hoo. So when I divide that by 75, I made exactly 15 units. So if it would have got to 1200, I would have had exactly 16 units, right? Because it divides evenly, right? But I had 15. And I add that to the 10 and a half I had yesterday, the 10.6 I had Tuesday, rather. And I have 26, so... Or 25 and change, but just for a roundish number without decimal, 25 times 15 occurrences of 2 days would be 375. If I did that, and that unit was always the same unit value, whatever it was, 1, 2, or 3 units, but if the base unit was always worth this, that's what I'm making in a month. Process that, I'll wait. First day I only made 10 units. The second day I made 15. I was making an average of 12 and a half units a day. Let's say that's all I did do, and that's not what I'm holding anybody else to. Okay, you don't got to make this much. I've already said, you just get this a day. You're doing great. I don't care what the unit is, right? Even if it's a $100 unit, and you get just 3 of those a day. We know that's 9,000, and 3 months later you have 27,000. The shit I'm talking about is a smaller unit. And, 25 times 15 occurrences of 2 days for a total of 30 days would be 375 units. And they'd be worth $75 a piece. That shit extrapolates to a crazy number real fast. What do you do that in month 2? What do you do month 2 when you have 28G? I don't know if you're paying attention out there, but this fucking economy is about to take the biggest shit you ever seen. You better save your money. And if you don't have it, to try to build your capital now, some of y'all are going to starve. You're going to fucking starve. I'm doing what I can now to prevent that happening to my family. But be the hero of your family and do this smart. You don't have to fucking be an asshole. I'll tell you what, you make that fucking much in a month, flip that shit into gold and let that sit in fucking vault in Utah somewhere. Don't fucking let that make you think that money's going to be worth shit later on. I'll tell you what else. If I was to have 30,000 built up in Canadian, which according to that extrapolation over 30 days, I'd have damn near close to this. If I was to exchange that at 1.47, which is what I normally, if I was to exchange that at 1.47, which is where, motherfucker, why is my thumb not working? 1.47, you'd only be getting 2/3 of what you actually took from them. Of course, this is if you had to gamble in Canada, However, if you were able to convert your money to Canadian and know that you were able to normally get, a starting investment, let's say you had 20 grand, not 200 grand. Well, let's say you had 20 grand. And you took that shit across the border and you'd have to sign a form or whatever. But if you were to do that and you got an exchange closer to this, you're getting 7,600 on your money walking in the door. Why do I say you're getting it? Because clearly right now, if you were to change that right back, you'd be losing money, like I've already stated. Right? But what if there was a transference of wealth where the dollar wasn't worth shit, and it got closer to what it is Canadian as it is American, and you bought in with 20G. I'm not saying to invest in Canadian, but I just want to put this out there. And you had, what was that again? I'm sorry. times 1.38. And this number actually right now is only 1.33 there. So you're getting a little less. But 2 weeks ago, it was this much. We're talking like a difference of $1,000 here. That still matters when you're only working with $75 units. That's a lot of money. So I just wanted to say that. If you had $20,000 to fuck with American, you probably aren't betting $75 units anyway. But I just wanted to point something out. That would be that. And let's say it leveled off to something around 1.25 return. You'd still have $22,080 if you really had to get that money out and you made $2,000 on your investment in fucking Canadian money. Dude, that's fucking stupid, right? That investing in a Canadian dollar might actually behoove you when the dollar crashes and you'll actually get more for your money. I'll take it a step further. This is fucked up. But if you're a whale and you have this kind of money, you got $250,000 or whatever you fucking got, and you had 1.38 put into Canadian, you'd have $276,000. So I'm just some jackass who does DoorDash for a living right now, okay? You don't have to listen to me. I'm not an investor. I'm not a whatever. But I want you to think about this. If the dollar got fucked and you were able to turn $200,000 into 276, and then the fucking rate dropped where you'd have 1.25. You made $20,000 on your investment. 28. And that's as far as it got. Yo, what if it got to 1.12? You made almost $50,000 on over $45,000 on your investment. Who would have thought investing in Canadian money could make you money if you were willing to sit on that shit somewhere? I just wanted to say that. I don't know, it's fucked up. I mean, who knows? Maybe Canada money will be worth more than ours someday. I don't know. This is pie in the sky thinking, perhaps. But you know what you can do? There's an app you can download on Google that is called Currency Converter. And you can watch this shit all the time for yourself. You think I'm fucking crazy. And you can do a conversion of whatever to currencies you want. I've just started playing with this, so bear with me. I don't want the euro. I want, well, that's not helpful. Canadian. Right now it's 1.38, and they're trying to tell me it's 1.33 when I go to the casino, so maybe that changed overnight. I don't know. It changes all the time, and we'll find out right now. Let's convert it. Where is the chart? Rates. Why is this thing fucking pissing me off? I'm sorry. I just started using this like literally yesterday, bro. So how do I change? Okay, yes. And then there was oh, god dang it. There's a way to change it where you can see the long view of it over years. You could do like 1 month, 3 months, 5 months, 6 months, 5 years, I think. And I can't find it now. Let me try this. Anyway, play around with it. You'll see what I'm talking about. I'll just use this as a fucking example. No, this isn't it either. This is a bad example. But even in this difference of currencies from the dollar to Indian rupees, it's dropped back down below where it was when it was up, heading up onto its peak. It had a drop off, and you can see when it was. Typically, I can't see it here now. Well, that was 1 year. It's a 5 year. I don't want to fuck up this video. Fucking play around with it. This isn't what I was looking at before. It was like you'd be able to look at something where you could see the differential between 1, 3, 6. You'd see how much it was changing over the last 6 months. And this isn't doing it. And this isn't the same chart. It would literally say it by the day, the month, and the day of the year. This isn't it. I'm getting angry now, so I'm going to just get off of that. But play with that that app. You can also just Google it online and look at the changes in the pricing. And the long and the short of it is the Canadian dollar hasn't really dropped that much where you're going to get almost equal value for your American money if you were to change the Canadian into American, at least not right now. Not right now. But I mean, if you had 20,000 and then it did drop to even 1.2, you know, you're still getting 16,666 for your money, as opposed to if it was this, right? Talking about like a $3,000 difference, right? It might be ambitious to talk like that. But I'll tell you what, I'm going to try to keep as much of my money in Canadian until I have to exchange it. Because frankly, it's never going to go up, right? Our dollar's, the American dollar, it's never going to go over $1.50. So if I can get it anywhere close to $1.40 again, I will probably dump money in the Canadian and then hope it drops to something like this, right? Like if I had, let's say I don't, but I will. But I mean, 20,000 times 1 point, let's say it got up to like 1.48 exchange, you would get almost fucking 10,000 on your money. And right now, this is what you get. If you go right now, according to what I just read, you get 7,600 on your money. It doesn't mean anything because if you were to change it back, this is the exchange you'd probably get to get it back. It would be 1.4 7 to get it back. God damn it. I didn't divide it. Divided by 1.47. That's how much you'd actually get back. So you'd be losing, a little over 1,000 on your money to immediately change it back. So clearly you're not going to do that. But I'm just saying, if you had the money to let it simmer for a while and let that price drop, and then it comes down to this, you're making a little bit. It seems like dollars and cents for that much money, but I don't know. $1,200 is a lot of money. But the reason this got in my head is I can almost make that in a month on the pace I'm at right now. That is fucking bananas. And if I was to trade that in right now, if I had that much, this is what they would give me at the current rate that they quoted me today. And I multiplied it again. God dang it. Gotta divide it, John. You'd only get 21,000 for your money. Right? Still, that's better than the 20,000 that it would be if it was this. Right? 20,400. 21,100. You're talking about a 700 difference. One day I walked in there with 1.47. Now it's 1.42. Now, on the surface, that doesn't sound like a lot. You're only dropping a couple hundredths of a point. But the fact is, if you bought it high and you're selling it at a low 1 point, the closer you are to 1.00, the more money you're getting back. That's the short of it, okay? So 1.47, you're only getting 20,408 back on 30,000. And 1.42, you're getting 21,126, so like $700 difference. Let's go right down the line. 1.35. 2's all the way around. I didn't expect that. But anyway, yeah, that's, you're making an extra $2,222 and 22 cents. They'll probably just give you the 20s, the 22.20 or whatever, but that's fucked up. I didn't expect that to happen. So then if I go like this, I don't play with my calculator like this normally. It's like that, and then it's like that. I'll go right down the line. You see how much it changes and fluctuates here, right? It's like that. Now you have 23,000. If it dropped to 1.3, you'd get an extra 3,000 on your money than you would if it was what it's usually at right now, which is something closer to this. You'd only get an extra 400 on your money, as opposed to this. I mean, the differential would be, okay, so at the present rate for 30,000, you get an extra 408. if your starting capital was 20,000 and you got it up to 30,000, let's say, then your differential would be 408, which isn't a lot, for trading it back, And that's not accurate either. That's not the differential, because if you were to trade 20,000 in, you'd have 1.38. You'd actually have 27.6, on the exchange. And then if you made an additional 3,400, or 2,400, you'd have to figure out the difference of what you actually had. But the point being is, if you got your money up to 30,000 and you started with 20,000, I don't care how you got there, whether it was from the initial exchange or whatever, you added extra to it, and you were going to go and return that, and you started with 20, and you were to divide that by 1.3, you're getting an extra 3,000 on your initial investment. The extra they give you on the exchange when you turn it in, the more they give you up front, the better, because you never had to do anything to make that increase. They just gave that money to you. So if you were able to use that money to make more money, and then when you go to change it back, you're getting that much more for your efforts back. So you, in effect, were getting 100% of your money back, almost, because it dropped that much. Because if your exchange was getting you closer to 27,000, and then you made another 3,000 on your own with their money, well, you're getting your initial 20,000 back and the other 3,000 that you made. And the differential that you're leaving behind is what they gave you to put your money in Canadian in the first place. Follow? Because if you exchanged it at 1.47 and they, oh, God damn it, the stupid multiply divide sign. If you exchanged it at 1.38 rather, oh, fuck, sorry, 20,000 times 1.38 would be 27.6, right? Okay. And let's say you made another 3,000. We'll make this clean. You made another 2,400. You'd have 30 grand. Now, with that 30 grand, if you were to have to divide under the normal circumstance, it would be 1.47, right? Yeah. It'd be 2,408. But it could be, if it went down low enough, something like that. That's not that far from 1.42. You would have made 3,000 on your money, regardless. You would have, if you would have made it into more, you effectively would have got 100% of what you put into it and what you made with their Canadian money. Whereas normally, you'd have your 3,000 that you made extra. You actually made 2,400 extra on top of the exchange. And they're giving you 100% of that, plus another $676. Because that number I quoted you was like, a differential after exchange of an additional, to get you to the 30,000 number, it was like an additional $2,400. Well, you're getting an extra 3,000 from what your initial investment of 20 grand was. So you're getting that 2,400 plus another 700 almost. Because you're transferring it back at a lower rate. You don't want to get bent that you're not getting 30,000, because that's never going to happen unless it dropped all the way to this. or fucking something like this. Then you're going to get closer to your 30 grand. But that's folly. It's never going to go that low. If the dollar crashes that low, you look fucking smart as fuck. But, I'm not going to, put all my eggs in a Canadian basket for sure. But I find it interesting to watch difference in currencies right now. And I kind of got sidetracked trying to explain this. I don't really map out my thoughts that well, I guess. But you're all smart enough to figure this out on your own. Play with your calculator. Play with the exchange. Understand what the exchange is, and typically it is. So if you live close to a border and you go play in Canada, I want you to think about this. If you have the capital to put in the Canadian and this dollar drops, you could actually make money exchanging at this rate. And if you actually got something higher like this, fuck yes. If somehow some crazy shit happens where we make some kind of deal and the dollar gets all this value back, some miracle, and you're able to get at this value, don't worry, we'll fuck it up again. Hold their beer. You know, like if you're able to trade this at 1.45 and you're able to get 9,000 on your money, please do it and sit on that shit and wait for it to fall back down to this times that 29,000. I mean, sorry, I got to do this the other way around. 29,000 divided by 1.3. You know, you're going to make money. What did that translate into? 29,000 divided by 1.3. Remember, you started with 20. You started with 20,000 and it becomes 29,000 because it was that high. Let's say it got that high. We don't know it'll get that high, but that's how high it could be. But then imagine it did something like this. You basically made almost $6,000 on your money. Just letting it sit there and wait for the dollar to take a shit. This is exponential level of catastrophe to the dollar that would be necessitated for this kind of a drop. But I'll tell you what. If we went into another Great Depression, this wouldn't even be enough to save you. An extra $6,000 ain't going to save you. But it'll be better than not having it at all. And people might starve. What if it crashed all the way to this? You would have made an investment that made you an extra $8,000 American. And the more it crashes, the more you wonder, well, fuck, are we going to be worth less than Canada? I'm not an economist. I don't know how far it could drop. I don't know shit. But what I do watch when I go to the casino is how much is my exchange every time I go. And is it fluctuating with any great disparity over short periods of time? And if it is, I need to pay attention to that. Because if it goes from this, and then it goes to this, let's say I go the next time, and it's something like fucking 1.27, that's a 0.1% drop. A tenth of the 10th place drop. That's significant. Most of the time it fluctuates between something like this. Not the exchange. We'll just use the exchange, not the buyback. It'll fluctuate by something like this or this, like it is right now. It's somewhere between 0.05 of a point. And usually if you're exchanging at this, then the differential to get it back is something like this. Dividing wise, right? It's like 0.09 of a point to get your money back into American. You know. If you're Canadian, I wouldn't be investing in American money. I wouldn't. I see us leveling off closer to your dollar than us getting away from yours. I do. So, you know, the only way it benefits us is if we, you know, have the ambition that our money was going to go back up after ours fell to something like this, or God forbid, something like this. You know, this. That would be catastrophic for us. Unless we already had this of yours, or this, or even this. And we got to exchange your money for ours and in the same, almost on the same level, you know. If we drop that close to even. So, bring this back around full circle. If I was able to make 25 units every 2 days, and I did that over a 30-day month, well, that's times 15, basically. That would be every 2 days. It would be 375 units a month. And if I did that over $75 units, that's $28,125. I started this whole process with 1,600 Canadian. And by the time I'm done, I could have 28,000 in 30 days. Is it 100,000 in 40 days? No, it's not. But I'm choosing not to be a cunt anymore. I'm choosing long-term longevity with the level of confidence that can never be quelled again. And what if I just stayed at the $75 level for 12 months? That's what it would be in Canadian. And of course, at the present exchange of 1.42, this is what I would get for it. Well, first, let me do this. That's what it would be. And then if I was able to achieve that for 12 months straight, which is ambitious, but if I was able to do that for 12 months straight, this is what it would be. Oh, you bitch. Let me go back to my history. I need this number. Now I divide that by, how do I get my numbers back? I'll figure this out. Oh, that ain't it. Well, fuck. I guess we'll do it like this. You know, like I said, I can't have peace in my life. How do I fix this? There we go. Oh, now what did I do? Oh, Jesus Christ. I'm sorry. There we are. Okay. So now, if I was to divide that 12-month annual, I don't know where I'm putting all this money, by the way, but facetiously, if the present rate never changed, I'd be trading that in for 100,000 less. So you see why this is forever on my mind now. The more money I make in Canadian, the more I want to turn it into American at an equal rate. And I question myself, how can that be done? It might be impossible. It would take the dollar collapsing. But then again, even if the dollar collapsed, the inflation here would be out of the fucking stratosphere and people wouldn't be able to afford shit anyway. So even if I had another 100,000 for that money, it still wouldn't be worth what it would be, you know, in the past, as it were, at the point that happened. So will I be glad I have an extra 100,000? Certainly. But if it doesn't collapse, this is what I can expect to have over 12 months. Still almost $250,000. But it's Canadian money. So, you know. There's no getting around that fact that the Canadian money is just worth less than it is American. But a time will come where if I had that much money at that point, you know, let's just say it was $238,000. And by that time, my local casinos here won't have me banned anymore. And if I have my way, it'll be undone much sooner than that. I can go to their places of leisure and decide that, you know, I've got enough to have an infinity of bankrolls of a significant amount that isn't going to be ball breaking. I mean, if I divide that into, let's say, if I divided it into $1,000 units, I'd effectively have 238 units. Right? When you put it like that, it doesn't sound like a lot anymore, does it? But you'll go into your high limit rooms and you'll see them putting stacks of orange out there. They probably have no business doing. Some of them might, but I bet most of them are filthy cunts that just don't have the bankroll structure to validate what they're putting out there at the time. They don't. Because they're fortunate enough to get this to turn into more, and then they just fling it around. Well, fair to say, I only bought in with 1,600 initially the other day. And dividing even that by 75 was half a bankroll, right? If I wanted 40 units, I didn't even have money to be betting 75. You know, if I was bringing 1,600 with me, I shouldn't have been betting more than probably 30 something, right? Divided by 40 would, 40 units. Yeah, okay, I'm stupid. I can't divide 16 by 4, sorry. I'm just thinking out loud as I'm typing things. I'm not thinking about the actual math of it. But yeah, $40, there still wouldn't be shame in that. If that's what you had to work with, I'd probably encourage that, especially if you're new at budgeting your money to do this correctly and efficiently. $40 is still great, guys. You know, even if you wanted more than 3 units a day and you got 5 of those a day, that's 200 a day. Times 30 months, you have $6,000. Times 3 months, you have 18 grand. Now you got money. Plus whatever you fucking started with. But you got to be efficient. You got to be able to get it done. $40 is very reasonable. And that's gonna satisfy most table minimums, unless they're jerk-offs and have something like this. Well, fine. You know, if you had 1,600 and divide that by 50, you'd still have 32 units, which is 8 units short of what I would recommend, but you could do it, because I have. I did it with fucking 21 units. I had this. And now I have an extra fucking... What am I at? 3,700 now? So I have an extra 2,500 to show for it. I've more than doubled up. I'm at 3,700 right now. And I divide that by 75. I've got 49 units now. And the more I make, the more units I have to have longevity to survive a cocksuckery event without measure. I think also having a stop loss probably is a good idea. But, you know, I put myself down this much of my original bankroll, and I bought in with another one of these, and I got it all back. And I left with that, plus another 1125, so this is what I left with today. And that was all. The 1125 was take, the rest was lost recovery. So, I mean, there was still a good swing there, right? I mean, 800, that's basically 10 units plus, you know. But I was able to achieve that by just simply biding my time. And like I said, we were only there for that 4 hours, 10 minutes today. Yesterday, I was there for 7.5. So it can be done. There's things that need to be done. But it doesn't have to be done, okay? I'm good at what I do, and I'm able to make my money back. But you don't have to feel like if you put yourself down this much, which is the equivalent of 10 units. Sorry, too many zeros. It's the equivalent of 10 units. Like I said, try to get 1 or 2 units here, 1 or 2 units there, 1 or 2 units there. Go get some dinner and come back and get the rest done. Like I said, that day might not be a winning day, but if you can get out even and stay fucking close to this, you can do whatever you want over time. My daughter and I, we had a good head start running into today. That's what helped today. We weren't hardly there for it all. We were already up our daily, okay? And of course, the daily at this is only that much, and after tax, it ends up being this. You know, it's not a lot. But I know that going in. I know that going in, that every 225 is really only going to be 150. And that's fine, because if I can do that twice, I made 450. And if I divide that by the take, it's a $300 day and change at the present value. Under the old value, it would be closer to 300. So it's like dollars and cents. I'm making an extra $10, right? You know, but whatever it is, it's still around 300. That's what I know. Every $150 is basically worth $100, right? That's the way I quantify the success of it all, is knowing that. And then every time I'm betting $75 there, it's effectively a $50 bet. And that's what helps me decompress the idea that I'm not even really betting that much as an American. As an American, I'm not really betting that much. I mean, first of all, the difference is just $25 to begin with. But just the fact that I know I can do it. The only way I'm seeing the $50 result in American is to bet more Canadian. That's the bottom line. So, all right, so I had to pause the video a minute. But basically, yeah, it was a good day, and I'm just going to try to keep as much of my money in Canadian as long as I can and hope that the value of the dollar goes down just a little and I can get more for my money if and when I need to take some out. But in 2 days, I made 10.6 on Tuesday, and I made an even 15 today, so I made 25.6 times $75. I effectively made $1,135. That number is not quite exact. I actually made $1,125, but still, that's what it is. So there we are. If I'm able to do that for 30 days, not 30 days, for 15 more occurrences of 2 days, no, that can't be right. It's not 1685. Hold on now. So if I had 25 units times, I did it times the 15. Times 15 occurrences is 375. Right? It's 375 units is what it is. And that's over a 30-day period. And they were worth $75 a piece. That's why it would be $28,125. I was like, that can't be right. That other number I saw. So yeah, you know. But fuck it. Like, even if I only average 10 a day times 30 days times 75, I'm still getting 22.5. Listen, I get anything over 20 grand in a month, I'm gonna be happy. That's why I started doing that one video series so far that is showing me get units at a time on a quest to find 100 units. I've only done 3 videos so far because I have to keep stopping them short because work interrupts me and then the video's compromised and I just delete the video. But that's why the last one I did was only like 4 minutes or something, because I didn't have the time for it. And whether or not anyone cares about any of this or not, think about how easy it is to get money over time.